What up? It's your girl Bewitched Faun, coming in with episode 9 of Faun's Horror Corner, a series where I watch a random horror movie from Tubi and we talk about it. This week we continue the Jack in the Box trilogy with Jack in the Box: The Awakening. The description Tubi gave us was, when a dying heiress opens an antique Jack in the Box, she releases a demon who offers her the chance to save her own life in exchange for 6 others. I went into this with slightly higher expectations than the first. Usually sequels come with a higher budget, at least that's what it seems like for most. I don't know. Nonetheless, I had higher expectations for this one. Also, there are some flashing lights during this, so heads up if you are sensitive to that. I try my best to state when the scenes start and stop, so let's get into it. Begin with this Victorian manor and a shady sounding deal. Real talk quickly, I thought off of this prologue that because of the house and how they were all dressed that this was literally in the Victorian era. It's not, okay? Don't be a silly fucking goose like me. This is modern day. You don't even know how confused I was after this prologue when like modern looking people were introduced. Okay, rant over. A woman is in bed and very sick. She is shown our infamous Jack in the Box. Also the original one apparently. The man gets paid and we're given context on what we can already assume, okay? It's linked to a murder case in Hawthorne and he got it off the black market. But this bitch is loaded so she could afford it. There's some sass thrown and this merchant guy is kind of douchey, but he's put in his place, it's fine. Her son is about to bring it to the toy collection, but she asks to be left alone with it. So he says goodnight and leaves. She reaches for the box and turns the buttons. The merchant runs back for his keys. She ends up spelling life and starts turning the handle. He pops out and she looks very happy. Then he crawls out and he's lurking. Flashing lights ahead. The merchant investigates and our boy is back. The merchant is attacked and is Jack's first victim. Flashing lights over. Skip ahead to a car driving in rural England. This woman is driven to the same manor we saw earlier. Edgar the son is unlocking the gate, but this shit is ancient so it takes a minute. But worry not because now we enter. Edgar greets Amy, a new caretaker hire. Amy wants to thank his mother, but she has cancer of the bones, so she remains undisturbed in bed. She was given 6 months to live about 5 months ago, so she doesn't have long. Edgar gets Amy inside to give her the rundown of her duties. Pretty basic shit. She'll reside with her 2 other colleagues. Edgar mentions all will be well, just follow our rules strictly. He hands her paper summing up her rules and her pay. She is shocked by the 9 p.m. curfew, and maybe I'm getting too old, but by 9 p.m. I'm usually in bed anyway, so that's no sweat off my back. Amy reads through and signs the papers. Welcome to Rosewood Manor. Edgar visits its mom, but there's a gruesome discovery. The mess left behind from Huxley the merchant. She informs Edgar about the truth behind the box. She released the demon inside the box, and if he gets his 6 kills, he'll offer her the life she wants. Edgar is shook, but she needs his help. The staff are not to leave the grounds. She intends to use them as sacrifice. Edgar is weary, but he's a mama's boy, so what do you expect from him? It's nighttime and Edgar is shit-faced. Rightfully so. He hears Huxley calling for help and goes to investigate. Following the calls for help, he opens up the basement and goes down, only to find the box sitting there. Now it's shaking and Huxley wants him to open the box. So he starts turning the handle and we get a jump scare as Edgar wakes up from his nightmare. Amy is getting settled in and is avoiding her ex's texts. Tries to call nonetheless and gets nowhere as there is 0 reception, and she knocks a vase in the process. But now we meet the other workers. Janet offers to take blame for the vase and we learn she's a housekeeper. And then there's Frank the chef. Amy asks about the signal issue when we learn there's no signal, no house phone, and no internet or computers. R.I.P. Amy joins them in chess while Edgar moves the box. We learn Amy grew up in an orphanage and can handle herself in bad situations as she proceeds to checkmate Frank. Janet and Frank sneak out, but Edgar noticed. But now they can get some zesty time. But creaking nearby distracts them and Frank investigates. The box chimes nearby, but they get back to business. Unfortunately, the scare's cock blocked them and Janet backs out and leaves. Now Frank is blue-balled and alone with the box chiming. He finds it as Edgar locks him in. Flashing lights ahead. Now the box is turning. It opens up and Frank can't get out. Jack pops up and claws into Frank and drags him away and into the box. That's victim number 2. Flashing lights over. Edgar is having a mental crisis in the meantime. He goes to talk to his mom, but she's about to start walking, and it's because Jack's strength greatens per each victim. Thus, so does hers. And Edgar is reeled back in for those 4 more victims. Now he's visiting someone. He kind of just enters and we meet his girlfriend. He seems sussed out by her, however. He wants to talk to her. Not sure what he said, but she wants him to get professional help and says his mom makes him miserable. But he is very defensive and we learn that she lied to the police for him, so he's basically in debt to her. While she's making tea, he goes through her phone. Many messages are deleted and he calls this person. A man answers and clearly it's boyfriend number 2. Back to the manor. Edgar is writing a letter. He's forging a goodbye note from Frank and dozes off. off, but Jack is lurking and approaches him. Never mind, it was another nightmare. It's the next day. Amy makes herself some tea and notices a lack of Frank. She wanders a bit to his door, but Edgar walks up and he says, he ain't here, he left last night. Amy cleans up and sees Jack vibing, and they have a stare down. Now he's looking right at her and she gets a closer look, face to face with Jack, and then Janet gives her a scare. They shoot the shit a bit about Jack in the box. Amy asks about Frank, and Janet is clearly upset, as her and Frank were going to leave the manor together and start a family, so she's very hurt. Edgar brings Mummy her breakfast and gets flack for feeling guilty. On top of it, she pesters him about his girlfriend. He asks how she discovered the box. To summarize, she found the diary of the creator. He studied demons. The box was made to contain the most powerful demon, Yakistamara, aka a demon of torment. The box wasn't made to simply contain him. It was made to grant wishes for releasing the demon and giving him 6 sacrifices. He needs to kill because it gives him life and strength and power over Didier Dubois, its human host. He was a clown in the Victorian era, plagued with voices in his head who wanted to kill his family, and it only got worse. The demon controls the mind, but grows inside the host over time, thus taking over the body. He reached out for an exorcism, but he was too far gone. To save the people from danger, he demanded he get cast inside the box to lock him away. But he was betrayed by the creator's greed, who wanted a baby. So he waited till the transformation was complete and started a deal. He got the victims and got his baby in return. Edgar's girlfriend is stopping by now. The gate is opened and she enters the property. She calls for Edgar inside. No response. So she walks around. That is until Edgar ambushes her and she ends up tied up to a chair with the box placed in front of her. He calls her out for cheating and for being disrespectful towards his dying mother. After some monologue, he says goodbye and leaves her with the box. It starts to wind itself up and it opens and starts shifting. Blood comes out. The doll goes down and Jack himself emerges and crawls out. Why does his face look wet? He trots slowly to her and attacks. Now Janet and Amy are talking about Edgar. Nothing shocking, just him being a mama's boy and being chatty while drunk, but now he's eavesdropping. Janet shuts the door to give her the tea, and obviously his backstory is that he's from America. He got sick of seeing his dad abuse his mom, and he killed his dad at 12 years old. His mom framed the uncle, and they escaped to England. Then she shit talks him and says he's a worm with no power around here. Fucking oof. Edgar checks on his lady now. She's still in the chair, but then peepers are gone. She starts screaming, and Jack is winding up and drags her into the box. That's victim number 3. Edgar hears a radio and investigates. It's just Amy though. Music helps me clean too, I get it. He slips something in her drink and she gets sick later. Still hooked on her ex, she wants to say she loves him and is coming home, but it ain't sending. Jack is lurking and he's in front of Amy. Pants would be shot. She runs and screams and Janet comes to her aid like the homie she is. But now Jack isn't around. It's the next day and Edgar greets Amy in bed with breakfast. She tells him she wants to go home and leave today. He asks about last night and she mentions seeing something not human. He gaslights her and is bringing a doctor over to have a chat. The doctor arrives and he asks normal questions. He's about to prescribe her something, but he stops and tells her to get rest instead, and then leaves her with his card and exits. He's hauling ass out and Edgar's pissed. He asks why he's lying to Amy and threatens to spill the beans, but Edgar is on the offense. He tells the doctor he should be afraid, and then he leaves and is waiting for the gate. But now the box is turning, and our doctor is walking around, and he finds the box. He gets a push and is locked in with it. Then it opens and Jack emerges. He attacks and then the doctor gets dragged in. That's victim number 4. Edgar visits his mom and she's walking around. He updates her on the doctor issue. She says they need to finish this quick and it'll end tonight. Janet visits Amy. She asks about meds, but Amy says she wasn't given any. Turns out, Janet did some snooping. But she saw money get exchanged and a bottle was given to the doctor. Amy notices the gate key was removed from the key ring, so there's no leaving. And Janet can't find an explanation. They plot to find the key and make their escape together. The scavenger hunt begins with Janet. She's snooping in an office, but someone is nearing, and it's Edgar. He backtracks to the office and stands in the doorway. Then he walks away. Janet finds herself in an attic with the box starting to wind up. She walks around to find the box wide open with Jack emerging behind her. He bitch slaps her, and now we see Amy packing up. She looks at the card and it says, "Don't trust him, get out," with his acting profile on the front. Janet crawls up some stairs, but Edgar finds her. She begs for help, but he's a petty bitch and locks her down there. Amy hears her screams as Janet gets dragged and choked by a freaky Jack. Then she is swiftly put into the box, and that is victim number 5. Amy hunts for Janet, grabs a knife, and finds the basement. She discovers the box and Janet's hand left behind. Now Edgar is lurking, and Amy locks him in her room. Back to the key hunt. She finds an old office, and many drawers later, the key is found. But Mama is nearby and stabs Amy. Now Jack is winding up again. The box opens, and he starts coming out. Amy stabs Mama while she's distracted. Both weak on the floor, Amy starts stabbing Mama more, and Edgar took notice. Mama is down for the count, and Amy starts running, but not far. because Jack is hunting. Flashing lights ahead. Jack tails Amy down a dark hallway, slowly getting closer. She runs before he can grab her. Now she's outside, and Edgar breaks free. Flashing lights over. She goes for the gate lever while Edgar finds his mom. Jack gets closer to Amy, but she's still trying for the gate. It powers on before Jack catches up though. Edgar hears the alarm while she runs for the gate, but she's losing her steam as it closes and Jack gets a hold of her. But she stabs him and continues crawling for the gate and exits while Jack is stuck behind it. Edgar holds his mother and mourns while a car finds Amy. Jack is behind Edgar now and he offers himself up to Jack. Jack accepts and slices Edgar's throat. He gets dragged to the box and that marks the 6th victim. Now Mama lives once again. And that's the movie. Let's get into my afterthoughts. This movie, like the first, was a fun watch, but Jack felt kind of dulled down. So I looked up the cast and the actor did change. So I'm going to assume that that's why, but it's a little sad because Jack was honestly the most iconic thing about the last movie, and he just felt dull in this one. By no means was the movie bad though. I mean, it was a fun watch nonetheless. The kills also felt the same, none really stood out. But if I had to pick a favorite, I mean, I guess Edgar had it coming, but still, the creativity was kind of drowned out a bit with the kills. I mainly wish they gave Jack more personality, like the movement that actor had in the first one just sold it completely. And while this actor did a great job too, it wasn't the same Jack. However, I do like that we got some backstory on it, and there's more lore given for the box, like the fact that he grants wishes and whatnot. I thought that was a cool detail to add. No one really made it for the character Hall of Fame, and that's okay. We have one last Jack in the Box movie to cover in the series, and then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled random movies until we are graced with another series. I am very excited to see the next installment of Jack's chaotic shenanigans. I'll stop rambling though. Thank you for watching if you're still here, and just in general. I try to put these out bi-weekly, but if there's any delays, I'll update it on my community tab. The movie is linked in the description if you want to watch it yourself, which I'll always encourage. My social media is also down there, but I am mainly active on YouTube and TikTok. Thank you again for being here. I will see you next time. Stay safe and spooky, y'all.